Hi everyone, my name is Johnny, and today I'm going to be talking about understanding your computer security in relation to the recent WannaCry attack. This video is purposed for a final project on my security class, and I will be doing some hacking and trying to attack a Windows system as an example of what a hacker would do, but this is purposely only to inform the public of security knowledge, not to have any malicious intent. So first, I'm going to talk about my setup. I am on a Mac, and on that Mac I have something called VirtualBox Manager, which allows me to have virtual environments. So in it, I have Kali Linux, which will be my quote-unquote attacking machine, and then I have a Windows 7 operating system, which will be my target. And so first, what I want to do is I want to talk about understanding your security. So we'll go over into our Windows, and we'll take a look at something that we've all probably heard called a firewall. You go into your computer, system properties, and then, what am I saying? There we go. System and security, Windows firewall, and right now I've been messing with it, so we'll restore it to its defaults, and we'll see what's going on. Yes, I want to continue. So, what we've got is, it looks like we're all protected. This is great. Same with public networks. But now we're going to take a look at what are the advanced settings going on here. Nope, I take it back. We're not. We're going to turn it on or off. So inside here, we see that the firewall is on, but when it says, do you want to block all incoming connections, including those in the list of allowed programs, that is unchecked for both of those, which makes you wonder, well, why do I not have that blocked? And how does that affect me? I will show you in a hot second when I try to look into this device. And so, as for the list of allowed programs, if you want to take a look further on what your allowed programs are that people will be able to send incoming connections to, you can look at right here, and then you can either say private or public. When it asks for home/work, private/public, when you connect to a Wi-Fi network, it will ask you, is this a private network or a public network, because it wants to help your security. The reason it finds out if it's private, meaning that if someone else sends an incoming connection to you, then if it's in the same IP range, then it allows it. So an IP address is something like 105.65.222, and then these last two numbers. So if I were to say this is the IP address of my computer when I am at home on my Wi-Fi, if anyone else were also in my house on my Wi-Fi, their IP address would be something along the lines of this. It would have these first three and then a specific number. And so that's how it understands when you say home/work, which is a private network versus a public network. Let's say someone were coming in and attacking me at like 61.2, yada yada yada. Oh, what am I saying? This only goes up to 255. 255, 255, 255. If that person tried to send an incoming network, it would say that's public. So handle security that way. If you want to find out your IP address, you can go over here and press ipconfig. Oh yeah, sometimes it's ifconfig in other computers. And so what you say is you go over into your IPv4 address, and mine is 192.168.56.101. I have created a static IP address and set it for this, so that way it's not my home network, and I maintain that confidentiality. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into our Kali Linux, and we're going to say, alright, Mr. Windows, let's see what I can learn about you. So remember that we just set our Windows to its default setting on its security. We haven't changed any of this. Everything's on. So we're going to see what can we see about this Windows. There is a useful tool called Nmap, and it has many options. What it does is it says, hey, I have this IP. I want you to send packets to it in a variety of ways and tell me what information you can gather on it. And so I'm going to be using nmap-v-a, and I'm going to add the IP address, and then I'm going to let it run. As it runs, it may take some time, so I'm going to stay on this page and speed it up in the video processing. Great, so we're done. And if we look back at what happens, what it says is that we've got scripts to go and scan this IP address that you've given us. We do a bunch of stuff, and we say, all right, we're scanning all open ports on this computer. And then we say, we're still trying, yada, yada, yada. All 1,000 scan ports on that are filtered, meaning that we can't have any access. We don't know anything about this device, which is really good. The reason being is that the more that you can learn about a computer, the more way you can understand how to hack into it. And so now, if we were to go back here and we say, I want to turn my firewall off. My public is now open. Anyone can go and look inside. It's a terrible idea. Don't do it. But I'm going to do this for proof of concept. And now I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to run that exact same command again, and we'll see what we find out about this device. Great, so we're done, and we have a lot more information now, so I'll start at the top. What we do is we start our scan, and we immediately discover, wow, look at all of these open ports on this device. So that's juicy, we can see what we got. Then it tries to detect the operating system, because if you know the operating system, you can actually do a lot more with that, because you understand what sort of things that operating system has wrong with it. And so now it gives us more information, and it says on this port, this is what it is, this is what's open. We now have discovered that their SMB port is open, 445, and it's a Windows 7 Home Premium Service Pack 1. So that is huge. Here is where the good stuff starts. What we have is a little thing called NetBIOS. That's open on this port, 139. And because that's open, we can see everything about it. We see here are the names of the people that are in this group. So essentially what it means is that you can create a session with a computer. So let's say I create a session with this computer and this computer. That means that I have access to this computer. You can think of that as remote assistance or screen control. So that's really risky to leave out into the public. And so now that I know this, I could do so many things. So for example, I'm going to go back, I'm going to restore these defaults so we can try and say, we don't know too much about this system, but we're going to give it a shot anyway. So we're going to open up something called MSF console, which is a Metasploit hacking tool. Essentially what it does is it has a whole list of exploits that you can do on various operating systems and machines, and it's really simple, and it's why hacking is easy these days, and why it's very important that you understand and maintain your security. While this is loading, I'll talk about another thing, which is security updates. So, I'm going to show you now, this is the most recent Apple release of their software update. And it may seem mundane, you might say, oh god, another update, it's so boring to do. But every time that they do that, they obviously have reasons for it. They find issues in their code, their software, and then they want to make it better for you. So if you didn't get this update, then you would find that an attacker may be able to bypass administrator authentication without supplying the administrative password. I don't know if you saw this recently, but what you would do is you would go into their system in security, and you would literally just type root and then hit enter. And if you don't update your macOS High Sierra, you are susceptible to this. And so that's one way that you can maintain your security, is when you do these software updates. So now that we're in here, we're going to first do what my paper was about, which is the Eternal Blue exploit. What that means is that, we'll go back here, we see that their 445 is open. That is their SMB port, which is a file sharing system. Now, back in, let's see, March of 2017, it was released that the NSA was using this ports. It had a vulnerability, which is called Eternal Blue, where when you send a piece of code to it, you can actually cause buffer overflow, and then the Windows device will run arbitrary code that you send to execute. And so once they found that out, the NSA used that to be able to infiltrate people's systems, and then the shadow brokers, which is a group, found those secrets, released them to the public, and then the hackers behind WannaCry took these infiltration secrets, what I'm about to use in Metasploit, and created a bug that allows itself to traverse through the network. Now, this brings me back to the idea of private versus public networks. The way that this bug would work is it would get in your system and it would encrypt all of your files, but before it did that, it would actually spread itself through anyone connected to your home and private network. So that being said, let's say you're in a big company, you obviously will block everything on the public network. There should be no reason for people to try and connect with you. And if you're on the home network, you obviously will probably have a file sharing system. And so if you have that and you have that shared system, then the worm will be able to spread throughout all the computers on that system, which is terrifying. And so that's why it's very important that once you find out those bugs, that software developers update them and send out the patches. And so since we knew that that was open, here we are trying to exploit it. So first I'll talk about Eternal Blue, which we say use exploit / Windows / what do we got? SMB / MS17 Eternal Blue. And so inside here, I'm going to make this smaller, bigger, we can show our options. And so, first we'll go info. What this is the Eternal Blue exploit, and what it does, it tries to overwrite the buffer and hijack it. And so first what we have is we have these parameters, and we say, all right, what of these is required? The rhost is the target address, and so we're going to say set rhost 192.168.56.101, and that is all we need to do. And so we're going to just run exploit, and now it's going to start, and it's going to say the reverse TCP handler is on this device's also static IP address, and it's trying to attack this person. And because that firewall is up, this times out, and so there's nothing to be had, and the exploit's done. Now let's go back here, let's mess with that firewall once more, turn it off and hit OK, and now we will run that exploit one more time. This time we see, whoa, we are connected, and then etc, etc. I'll let this run quick and talk about it after. Alright, so this is done. Once we were able to connect, what it did is it created these buffers and sent them. And then it says here, the overwrite was completed successfully. Now what that means is that it simply created a buffer overflow. It's not as if it actually created the code that would allow it to run. And so here when you keep finding these failures, that's because this version of Microsoft has the patch that Microsoft released. And so even if you are able to quote-unquote get through that buffer overflow, what that means is it just sort of connected. It didn't actually create this malicious code, which has now been fixed on the Microsoft server. And so it says, oh, I have access. I'll try again. But, okay, I'm going to stop. Because if you keep trying, it's going to get caught. And so now the question becomes, why does this matter, and how can you protect against this? If you're in a large company, you want to definitely make sure you have an IT network that understands these sort of hacking security tools and sets you up appropriately on each device that you have to be protected. Furthermore, it is a very good idea to actually get certified from a security consultant company that will come in, check your file systems for their security measures, try to quote-unquote hack in themselves, and then they'll say, yes, you are good. Because not only is it important for you to feel secure in your files, but it's also very beneficial for consumers of your product. And then furthermore, in terms of security, understanding your firewall, why you have it, how you can change it, be to allow new programs to get in or to up your security, and And then finally is making sure that you constantly patch your software, because every time you have an update, they have update notes, and they're usually pretty explicit in what they're doing. And so if you don't update your stuff, you can be more susceptible to attacks. Thank you all very much. Have a great day.